it was the last practice run of the day, and I ended up in the tire wall. So going into like this in the tire wall, so I got thrown up, and I did a 360 in the air with the whole go-kart. And so someone said from this side that he was seeing me that I had cramped into the steering wheel, and my whole body was lifted off from the seat, and I just landed back in the seat as the go-kart landed on the ground.
This episode of the BloomX podcast is brought to you by Nava Wilson LLP. Nava Wilson LLP provides services in real estate, corporate law, and litigation, and is committed to increasing access to and awareness of the justice system. Nava Wilson is also the legal advisor for YSpace, York University's incubator, and The Hub, the University of Toronto Scarborough campus's incubator. They are willing to provide up to $5,000 worth of services to a select few startups in Toronto. If you're a startup looking for access to legal services, contact us at the link below to find out more. Okay, and we're up. Perfect. Okay, so Robert, thank you for coming in. You're definitely one of the most interesting students that came out of the universities of Toronto's The Hub.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to come on is talk about the litany of experiences you've had. So you're pretty much a race car driver, right? That built his own race car driver.
Yeah.
A race car, and now you're also starting a company.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
So let's digest that a little bit. Let's talk about your driving history. How did you end up into racing cars?
So that started about 9 or 10 years ago. Red Bull was organizing an amateur competition back in Latvia, where I'm from.
So 9 or 10 years ago, sorry, how old are you?
So right now I'm 24. That was when I was 15, I think.
When you're 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Latvia let you drive when you're 15 and race cars too?
Well, as I said, so there was an amateur go-kart competition.
Amateur, okay.
Yeah, Red Bull was organizing it, and I saw an ad on internet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the registration fee was essentially buy a 4-pack of Red Bull, and I said, oh, that's an easy registration fee.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my dad if he can take me to the track where the race was happening. We went there, I did my laps, and I think that was my only fourth or third time I was in a go-kart. And it was pretty good, and my dad said, go and ask that man for some tips. And that man was, I would say, the fastest man in Latvia. I would say one of the most famous and best racing car drivers in Latvia and all the region.
Okay.
And he was one of the organizers, and also was the main marshal.
What's his name?
Harald Schregelmil.
Okay.
So I went up to him and asked some tips, and he said, hey, if you want more tips, just come to my track and I'll give you some tips. And so next week on a Tuesday, I went there and he gave me some tips. And at the end of the summer, I said, hey, so I thought that I heard that there's another an amateur go-kart league. Well, do you think I should sign up for it? And he said, hey, don't you want to try the real sports go-kart? And I said, okay, why not? And after one session, he said that next year he's making a racing team, and he asked me if I want to join.
Okay.
And 1 month later, I was already sitting in my own sports kart and having my first practices, and that's how I got introduced to racing.
Nice, man. And from then you fell in love with the sport?
Oh yeah, it's an addiction. It's an absolute addiction, and I fell in love with the sport, and I've met a lot of people through the sport, and it has given me a lot of opportunities and also great life experiences.
Definitely. So in what sense, what do you get out of it the most?
Adrenaline. Adrenaline would be the one thing, but one person that I met through racing also is Arturs Pumpurs, and he has helped me out a lot too with different advice, and he has invited me joining different projects too along the way, and where I've gained a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So racing has definitely connected me to a lot of different people. And also just being in that environment, and if I wouldn't have been in the racing team, I wouldn't have joined the U of T's racing team, where I was part of the business team, where we were making all the promotional materials, trying to get new sponsors, communicating with sponsors.
So from Latvia, from racing there, you came into university. You came to UFT,
Yeah.
UTSC, and you decided you want to pursue racing more through the university.
Yeah, no. So actually, when I found out I was coming to UFT, I thought that okay, I don't want to leave my racing back home. I want to take it with me.
Okay.
And I was looking for ways how I could pursue it, and then I found out about that there is this Society of Automotive Engineers, a huge global organization, and they're organizing what's called Formula Student Competition. There are around 900 teams in the world who are doing that, and every team is building and designing a brand new Formula type race car every single year. So
Okay.
I thought, well, I should try and join them.
Okay. And UFT already has something like that going on?
Yeah,
at the
UFT
time?
had that. Like I think the team, we just celebrated 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the University of Toronto at Scarborough, the Scarborough campus was part of that as well?
So theoretically, the whole UFT, and it could be part of it, any student from Mississauga or Scarborough campus, but most of the students on there are from downtown campus.
From downtown campus?
Yeah.
And you were one of the few from Scarborough?
Yes.
Perfect. So how was that like? You found them and you decided you want to get part of the team?
Yeah, I just emailed them and they said they have a new members meeting in September, late September. I went to the meeting. At that point, I met the team leaders. They said, come to the shop, help us out. So they gave me some smaller tasks in the beginning, like hands-on helping participate in building the car.
Does this the competition have a website or anything, or you have to?
Yeah. We do
Let's
have a
pull that up.
website.
What's it called?
I think it's fsaeutoronto.ca.
FSAE.
fsaeutoronto.ca. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, because I went to school here and never thought about racing at university.
Yeah.
So this is the type of car you guys had build your own vehicle.
Yeah, every year the car is designed and built from scratch.
Perfect. And what was your process in this? Like, what'd you do?
So first year, all the first years usually do the grunt work,
Yeah.
all the smaller tasks to get familiar with the tools and with the task and how the team is running. Engineering students after first year, they're given like bigger tasks of designing parts. I wasn't an engineering student, so I didn't really participate in the design work. I was giving some suggestions that I thought that could be changed over the years. So I was still actively participating in manufacturing different parts. For example, laying up the carbon fiber wings or manufacturing some tubes for the frame or whatever needed to be done, I was there. And when the car was ready, I participated actively in the testing process, which is a really important part of being competitive in racing. Because unless you don't have that testing and then you show up to the race unprepared, it doesn't matter if your car finishes or not.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you got involved and you started racing within the first year?
Yeah.
Cool. So you give me some pictures here. That's you?
Yeah, that's me. I think that is 2017 summer. We were in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the 2017 car in Germany.
So this is a worldwide
Yeah.
university competition.
Yeah.
Right? People go, is it at different locations every year or?
So there's competitions happening at the same location every year, in different parts of the world. There's in Australia, Japan. There's 2 races in USA. I think there's one in South America too. There's a lot of races in Europe. So like any university can go to any of those races.
So the university, do they cover the costs for all that?
So university sponsors that, mainly engineering department, the alumni association, but a lot of sponsors are outside from the school.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and you told me you were part of that, right? You were the one
Yeah.
who was part of the business side of it.
Yeah.
Chasing sponsors, chasing them to
Yeah.
come help with it,
Yeah,
help us
yeah.
out. Like, what was that journey like? Was it easy? Was it a challenge there?
It was challenging, of course, but usually you find people who are also passionate about racing, or they were in engineering in university and they thought, oh wow, if we would have this in our time, then it would have been so cool. And so they associate with the idea. So those are the people who are more invested in sponsoring us.
Mm-hmm.
But there is definitely a lot of good companies and good people out there who are supporting us. And although it's not that they do get exposure, but end of the day, they do it because they like what we're doing and they support it.
Yeah, definitely. So you told me you're the one who got MBNA and
No.
TD on board, or they're
No,
already...
no, no. So that's a U of T's program. It's a
UFT's.
pillar. It's a pillar program. So I think there is MBNA, TD, and Sunlight Financial.
Okay.
And those three big companies support different University of Toronto clubs or projects. And University of Toronto Racing Team is one of the teams. I think we've been one of the longest teams that's been supported by that project. And every year, 2 years I participate in writing the report that we need to submit to MBNA and in order to apply for the sponsorship for the next year too.
Okay, yeah, it's a rigorous process to go through all that, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. So you guys also had to build this car, right, from scratch?
Yes.
So what is the engineering acumen needed? Like, were you part of that at all?
Yes, I did participate, not in the design process, but in the meetings and everything. So other inputs that should be changed from the last year car, what would be better. So it's, I would say, so right now it is June. The design process for the next year's 2019-2020 season car has already begun. The manufacturing hopefully will start at probably September, October.
Yep.
And the finished car should be rolling around March.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So this is you driving? This is different vehicles?
Yeah.
So this is a UFT sponsored drive, right?
Yes.
For
This
the
is UFT's vehicle.
for the competition, the worldwide competition.
Yeah.
We also race on the side and other
So
competitions.
this was the formula that, so I was, so after my first season, the team owner, Harald Schwegelmil, so he said that the best person who had the best results in the team will have a essentially sponsored practice day with a Formula Master car.
Yeah.
And that picture is from that day. And so me and another of my teammate, so that was our first go-kart season, and both of us were very competitive. And so both of us in the end got awarded that drive, and that was the best reward, and that was like another drive for me to push further and to be a better driver.
So for the reward for winning a go-kart race was
for the not even just being a really progressive driver and then winning and being good.
And the reward is driving this.
Yes.
So what is this, and why is it different from other vehicles?
So that's a Formula car.
Is it a Formula One car?
No. That's it was Formula Master.
Okay.
I'll tell you honestly, I won't remember perfectly the specs of it, but it was really fast. It was terrifying in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that was definitely the fastest vehicle I've ever driven. And we arrived at the track and it was raining. And so the first time we had to drive would be in the rain, and that added even more to the pressure. So, but we handled it pretty well. And then.
So how do you deal with when you're driving a vehicle this fast and that's that light, right, in the rain? How does it handle differently?
So in rain, so these cars they don't have traction control or ABS or nothing. So
manual.
Yeah, I did spin around in the beginning, and then I ended my session also spinning around and ended up in grass because. As I said, it's a different animal from anything, right, from a street car or a go-kart. So, but that experience was just absolutely phenomenal.
Well, this is normally what you drive.
Yeah, that's what I started in. That was the go-kart. So
how are these different from the regular go-karts that you can go?
So the regular go-karts that you go to these different racing halls are usually they're bigger, they're bulkier, they're heavier, and the engine's slower. So these ones are running two-stroke engines, which are super small, super light, compact, and they're high output power. And so go-kart like this, it's like a single-gear go-kart, but it goes up to 120 kilometers an hour. And together with me, it weighs, 130-something, 140 kilos, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And that's every driver that does any type of racing goes back to go-karting. So it's like that's the purest racing there is.
Yeah.
It's so much fun and so much there's so much thrill in that, and it's
definitely. How fast these go?
So these one go around 120 kilometers an hour.
120 kilometers an hour, that low to the ground.
Yeah.
With no real protection. That's
No.
Like, do you ever get injured or anything? Like
no, I didn't get injured. I got into one smaller crash. It was actually in the same track. I might even say that was the same race weekend when this picture was taken. It was the last practice run of the day, and I ended up in a tire wall. So going into like this in the tire wall, so I got thrown up and I did a 360 in the air with the whole go-kart. And so someone said from this side that he was seeing me that I had cramped in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And my whole body was lifted off from the seat, and I just landed back in the seat as the go-kart landed on the ground.
Jeez.
So it was all good. I didn't get injured or nothing.
Yeah.
The kart was wasn't bent up really badly, but they did a lot of fixing needed to be done for the next day.
Yeah, you're telling me like this is like almost a full body workout controlling these things, right? Because of the G-forces you're pulling, right?
Yeah. Your body needs to act as essentially an extension of the car too. So like it's how you drive, how you're sitting in it, and so it's a lot of fun, and it's technical too.
It's a great picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a different kind of vehicle.
This is different. Yeah. It's these cars are actually made in USA, North Carolina, I think.
Are you telling me this is a standard racing vehicle? Like
Yeah. So they have like two different body styles, like a coupe and a sedan. This is the sedan. There's also the coupe body style. They're running a 4-cylinder Yamaha engine,
Okay.
like from a motorcycle.
Okay.
It's carbureted. It's a solid axle in the rear. There's no differential. It's a fun car. It's a fun car. It is also really fast, and then there's a sequential gearbox and everything. And
this is a little funky looking. So
it's a little funky looking. They're called the Legends car.
Okay.
So in North America, they're mainly raced around ovals, so the races in like our part of Europe, they're on circuit tracks.
Yeah, this is like a old school
Ford
Ford or
but it's like the bodywork is fiberglass, and it's pretty new.
Yeah. No, for sure. So it's made for racing.
Yeah, it's just literally made for racing. It's called Legends Cars Racing Series. Yeah.
For is it a beginner series
No,
or?
it's not. I would say it's a beginners. Like anyone can race in it. Like as soon as you get a racing license, you can, if you want, if you have the funds or the means or the way how to get access to that car, then you can do it.
How much did it really cost? Do you know?
I wouldn't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how much is a new one. Yeah.
You just drive them,
Yeah.
So this is a video you shared with us.
Yeah.
Is you driving one of those vehicles?
Yeah,
Legends?
that's that vehicle from the same race. Yeah. Yeah, that was after a red flag was put out, and then there was a restart.
Yeah. So you tell me this is the one there's a lot of G-force controls?
Pardon?
There's a lot of G-force behind this? This is the one
this one, I wouldn't say that there's that a lot. Again...
Is it because you're in a closed body, or...?
No. It's I would say it's just like it's, again, technical driving. Because, again, there's no technical ads, right? No ABS, no traction control. So I did struggle in the beginning of driving this car in that track. And so...
You're telling me it's a challenging track, right?
It's a challenging track.
This was in Germany?
No, it's in Latvia.
Latvia?
Latvia.
Okay.
This is in Latvia, and then the first time I drove on that track was a day before this video was made. So it was maybe a foolish decision for me to decide to jump into the track that I had never driven on before, but it was okay. It ended up fine. Nothing bad happened in the end.
Just a little bit.
The result wasn't that good, but at the end of the day, I had fun. I did learn the track a bit better, and again had a great time. Yeah,
there you go. So that's a lot of torque behind that engine, I'm guessing.
There is decent amount of torque in that engine, yeah. Yeah, because it is geared a bit differently.
Yeah, you tell me this track was challenging because it's right next to a forest, right?
It's right in the forest. There's not a lot of runoff area, and so as you can see, like the trees are right there, so it's not forgiving on mistakes that you make.
Yeah.
So if you make a mistake, if you're unlucky, then you're gonna probably end up in a wall or something.
Yeah.
So, but it is overall.
Yeah, I mean the racing part of you is really cool because not only do people have that kind of background.
Yeah.
Right. Does that give you a higher risk tolerance, you think?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. because that's the one thing. If you think about that you're gonna get hurt or what I'm gonna do if I crash, then you're gonna be constantly thinking about that, and it's gonna be limiting how you do it, how well you perform. I did struggle like sometimes with when I was driving in some races that I made a mistake and I was holding on to that mistake.
Yep.
And that affected how I drove the further laps or even the whole race. And you need to learn how to like essentially get rid of that feeling. And I would say that I'm trying to keep that thought for all other parts of my life, because if you make a mistake, okay, you did it, move on. Like, don't think about it. If you linger on it, then it's gonna affect everything that you do further, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the progression from this to entrepreneurship, which you're breaking into now. The idea of risk tolerance and exactly like that, learning from mistakes and being able to move on. Those lessons could definitely translate definitely into the innovation economy. So yeah, you're now in the hub. Past 3 months now. You started 3 months ago, I think.
Around, I think 3 months are coming up right now.
About 3 months, right? And you came in here with the express concern to create like a photography tool. Photography app?
In a way, yeah.
Platform.
That's
a better accurate word.
Yeah.
So what got you from cars and driving to photography?
I don't know, to be honest. So I kind of always like taking pictures, and so it was a couple of years ago. My dad gave me his old camera, his old DSLR. I think it was 600D or something.
Okay.
I took the camera. I read about it. Actually, read an instruction about it, because you can learn a lot of things from instruction too. But I just took the camera, started walking around, taking pictures, and taking more pictures and more pictures. And I thought, I kind of like this. And I got a better camera and started taking more pictures. Went to some races, took the pictures of the race cars, and then so it's just naturally. It's a way for me to just relax. I would say, just take pictures of cityscapes, or whenever I'm outside the city in a park or on a trip somewhere, like take picture of like an animal I see or nature, some really nice landscape.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a way for me to relax. And when I was thinking about it, it would be pretty cool to earn money with this, or how to sell pictures. And then I thought about a way, how do actually these photographers, how do they start like putting themselves out? How do they start earning money? And that's how I came up with the idea of like needing that kind of platform.
So your platform is called SnapIn Pro?
Yeah.
So what is SnapIn Pro? What does it do, and why are you doing it?
So essentially, it's a platform. You can look at it from two sides. From one side, I solve a problem of a person who is looking for a photography service or videography service. Whenever the only tool right now you use it, or two tools essentially, is from mouth to mouth. Like someone tells you about someone who did a good job, or you heard that he's available for whatever gig you need to have. Or the other one is you Google. You need to use Google, and then you have options of these different photo or video services, and it's time consuming, and so you don't know really what are the reviews of those people that you find there. And so I thought if there would be one platform where you would go on, you can find, compare, book the professional you need in a very time-saving manner, it would be very useful. And from the other side, from the professional side, it would be easy for him because he can use it as a tool to manage his professional, essentially schedule, his calendar and everything, and also a way for him to reach new targeted markets that he couldn't reach before. Because the people that I've interviewed, they say the biggest way of them getting new clients is from mouth to mouth. But if they want to go to a new region, it's really hard because no one knows them there, or they haven't had any jobs there. And so this could be also.
So the main aspect of this is photographers or amateur photographers link onto this platform, right? And a client will put up a request. I think you used the example Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, or an agency representing Coca-Cola wants to represent Coca-Cola, puts up a request like, hey, can you take a picture of a Coke at a beach?
Yeah.
Or by a river?
Yeah.
Or et cetera. You put up a request, like this is the kind of picture we want. Just pictures or video too?
So pictures and video. So that's the thing. Like we need to decide how we're going to start up in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's one option. Whether if you don't want to hire the professional for a job, you can put out a open job board that you want, like
kind of like a freelancer community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then like in the beginning, it started as this like kind of a job board, and now it has grown into an idea of like an actual photo community for these professionals where they can come together and then share different ideas and be at this one place for them.
Perfect. And have you reached out to like any agencies that would require these kind of services, or what's their feedback been?
So I only talk to photographers right now.
Yep.
I haven't talked to any agencies or so, because the agency ID came in again a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't done that work yet. But from the professionals I've talked to, they seem interested in having a service like that where they can actively look for new.
So who pays
customers.
here? Does the agency pay for the work, or do we pay the platform? I mean,
So it would be a subscription-based service for the professionals, because for one thing, it's essentially like a targeted ad for them, and two, like I'm gonna try and bring in this added value to the service that they will see that it will be not only as like a job board, but as a membership.
Yeah.
And with membership comes different benefits, and so. Yeah.
Cool. So you're probably one of the earliest companies we've talked to, because you're still in ideation, conceptualization phase.
Yeah.
You actually won our first pitch competition we had,
Yeah.
right? Which is great. Which is surprising, since you're one of the newest companies, right, in the hub as well, that we've been working with. What's your take been on conceptualizing this project and get it up and running? I mean, did you see the vision first and be like, okay, this is what we need to build? Or have you been more systematically being like, okay, it's a problem I've seen, how do we systematically solve it?
So it all started with an idea that, like, I saw the problem, and then I thought about how could you go around it, how could you solve it, and so I put it on paper and thought about it and wrote some different solutions. And I mentioned previously I met the person Arthurs. I talked with him. I described him the idea, and he told me his opinions on that, and so I just like constantly recycled that, and whenever I was thinking about it, I thought, oh, I could do this, and or I could do this, and so the idea just grew and grew together. And
So started with the problem first. You noticed the problem first.
Yeah,
and you're like,
it was
how do I
started with
solve this? Yeah.
exactly. If you start with a problem and you think about what could be the solutions, or you try and researching if maybe there is a service like that.
Yeah.
And when you do this research, you see these different services, and you think, well, why did they do this in this way? Why didn't they do it in this way? Or they offer that, but they don't offer that. And so you just keep combining these ideas, and like at the end of the day, like I'm still like thinking about different stuff that at the end of the day that I'd like to add to this service. But the one thing that you need to understand is that you need to start with the basic package, right? The small thing, and then you can expand.
No, definitely. So that's interesting. So you experienced this problem first, or you feel the pain of this problem?
No, I wouldn't say that I experienced it. I was just thinking about that there is a problem like that. And
So how do you qualify, or are you still quantifying the limit of that pain, right? How much do people experience this as an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much are they willing to pay for it? It correlates, right?
Yeah. No, so the interesting thing is whenever I'm talking about making about this project, someone always says, oh, wow, I know a photographer, and he says like it's hard for him to find new clients, because again, the biggest issue is that getting these new clients is getting yourself out there. And if you don't have this client base, you can't get your work out there, and it's like a never-ending circle, right? If you don't have clients, you can't acquire new clients. So like this would be a good starting way, definitely for a lot of amateurs, how to put their work out, showcase their work, and put that they're available too, that there are people like this in these different regions, or whether it's in a different city region or completely different, or for example, Ottawa, not Toronto, and they're available for maybe better pricing than established professionals, but sometimes they can deliver a better quality work.
Awesome. That's great. So what's next for you guys? Like you're conceptualize this, you talk to a few people in the industry.
Yep.
Trying to build this out.
So next step is definitely starting the development work, which is kind of a struggle a bit right now.
Yep.
Finding the right developer, but I think at the end of the day I'll solve that problem too. But so that's definitely the next step. And also after starting development work is either acquiring funding for development work or acquiring developer to have some good.
So that's the catch, right? The catch 22. It's like people with capital want to see an MVP, a product in the marketplace.
Yeah.
But if you need a product in the marketplace and you don't already have a development team,
Yeah.
right? It's a back and forth. And it's a common struggle that many people who want to break into like the technology space who are not programmers themselves run into.
Yeah.
I have a great idea and technology can solve it, but how do I even get it built?
Exactly.
Right? Any thoughts on how you're going to solve that?
So I've been talking to one of my friends. He's a programmer. We'll see what happens with that. I would have a team back in Latvia that are ready to develop it if I would have the funds. So I have these different options, and so a good solution definitely would be acquiring some funding.
Yeah.
But as you said, I need an.
So there's a new model developing. I've worked with a few dev companies that have employed this, and we employ it very strategically. Is that, I mean, this is exactly what it is, right? You need capital to build a product, but to build a product, you need capital. Yeah. Right. There's a lot of dev shops. So in Toronto, in the marketplace that is Toronto, right, programmers are really hard to come by, and even like very senior startups or even high-end to companies, Fortune 500 companies, have this problem where developers sometimes cut contract early. They have a 1-year contract, whatever. They'll cut 7 months early, and they decide, you know what? The money's great, but I can probably build something myself. I can join the startup and grow better, right? And they leave, and because it's such a demand for them in the marketplace,
definitely.
They don't stick around. So I mean, we generally see this a lot. So there's a lot of dev shops or even startups. What they do is 2 ways, right? So there's dev companies that build products, and they work with like high-end companies that either pay them consistently or they have consistent work, and they hedge their bets, right? They'll pick a few startups for a few years, and just like a capital company, a venture VC company, or a private equity fund would buy a company or invest in a company, they'll go to these startups and be like, hey, you have a great concept, great model. It seems like you have a great channel to build, to push this out if it's built. So we will co-invest with you, right? So we'll take either equity or option stock, and they'll co-invest. So just like a venture capitalist or investor would, trade capital for equity in your business. These guys will transfer sweat labor, right, in turn for that equity, and together they build it out with you, right? So they be the partner that builds the product. You be the salesperson to go and champion it and get the users and get it up and running. And then when you do get the capital raise at a high level, right, they exit. So it's profitable for the dev companies and it's profitable for you guys, right?
That's definitely a good solution, and that would be definitely really an easy way out to say. That would be really good. But there's also other different challenges that. For example, like I'm from Latvia right now, and so I was looking into what needs to be done to register the company and everything, and then I realized that that actually is also a problem for me because I realized that I need at least one Canadian national on board on registering.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so if
you want to register here.
Exactly. So every week you'll find these different new challenges, right?
That's surprising. That's the problem I've been talking about because we have a lot of people, especially, so UTSC is one of the most, has the highest population of foreign students. City of Toronto, of course, it's a huge number of immigrants coming in. And what are the solutions here for that? I would imagine there'd be better solutions in place.
So maybe there are. So I was just looking through the government website, and then so they said you can register as an international, your limited partnership or limited company, but you need at least 25% Canadians on the board. So that's the solution right now.
So on the board, so not necessarily a employee, but board of advisors.
Just on the founding board.
On the founding board. So do they have to hold equity?
So that was written there. So I'm not 100% sure.
So 25% of the company has to be owned by a Canadian or a series of Canadians. Okay, that's interesting.
So it's definitely a subject that I should and everyone should, I guess, research a bit more because I encountered that issue 3 days ago. and so we'll see how that goes. But
Would there be an issue with you registering in Latvia and operating here?
so that I was thinking about that. We were talking with Gray, who's the supervisor here at
Yeah.
the hub, and so the thing is, if I would do that, then I would definitely have more problems of getting funding from, for example, funds here, because if the company is registered there, then like they would be interested that the money still stays here, right? If the money is flowing overseas to Europe, then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that it would raise issues, but I think it'll be just more interesting and even a bit more challenging to do it here. So why not try and do it here?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting problem to see because we don't really deal with a lot. I haven't, at least myself, dealt with a lot of like people who have immigrated here.
Yeah.
We're still in the process of being a naturalized citizen, becoming a naturalized citizen, wanting to start a company or a
Yeah.
business. Have you talked to anyone who has challenges before?
No.
Have this challenge before?
No.
Because it's hard to find.
It is. Yeah. And the hub, it's interesting. At the rate the hub, there's so many different people from different nationalities coming in here, but none of them had this issue because they have Canadian citizenship, right?
Yep.
So there definitely have been people who have done this, who have gone through this, but I haven't had any contact with them yet. So we'll see how that goes forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so you're right now in the trying to figure that part out,
Yep.
and you're trying to figure out how to get the MVP
Yep.
built out.
Yep.
So quite a lot of pretty much stuck in that beginner stage. Trying to
Yeah.
launch your.
I would say, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's stuck because either way, every week I see some progress done in whatever research I'm doing or getting the numbers that I need for the market analysis or anything. It's just there are these couple bigger steps that I'm trying to plan for and then like overcome them, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
But those two are, I would say, even the registering process. I think I'll figure out the solution for that in a week or so. But the development process might take a bit longer time. But I know that I will overcome that too.
Yeah. No, of course. These are the challenges put forward that has you solved whenever you want to launch anything new, right? But it's unfortunate that that's an extra hurdle that needs to be done, right? What would you prefer? I mean, it's already frustrating enough to launch something new.
Yeah.
Right? When there's a legal or regulation put in front of you, that's super frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? What would you prefer as someone who wants to build here? Because I would imagine there's a lot of people who want to come to Toronto and build this, right? It's funny, I was actually talking to a potential sponsor for the podcast. It's called Bright Immigration, and they're moving towards more from more manufacturing labor, bringing a lot of labor from across from other countries here to like tech labor. There's a lot of tech talent moving here, especially from the Valley, right? From the States, taking advantage of the dollar value, right? We're 30 cents on the dollar here. Sorry, 70 cents on the dollar here to the US dollar. And a lot of these companies are moving here and they want to bring their tech workers and people here. So there should be some better mechanisms for these like more non-naturalized citizens to create this, right?
So I would say when you come here to work in a company that's established here, I wouldn't say that's a problem because Canada is a very open country, and as far as I know, it's very open to skilled labor and tech labor especially, and I think that's why Toronto was also in the shortlist for Amazon headquarters, right? Because they see that Toronto is it is a tech city, I would say in a way. But
definitely.
But where the struggles are starting is when you're trying to start your own partnership. And the thing is, if I would have a team, right now I'm working alone. If I would have a team, I wouldn't have a problem because part of that team there would definitely be some Canadian there, and it wouldn't be a problem at all. Why?
So the next stage is for you to recruit.
Exactly. I would say like that's another step I need to do. I need to gather my own team. Because I understand at some point I won't be able to do everything on my own if I want to do anything else at all. But I don't think it is a problem, but it's not a major problem. It's I would say like if I would want to start some like a new startup somewhere besides home, like this would be definitely one of the places. just because.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, what's it? You traveled across doing a lot of racing.
Yeah.
You lived in Latvia. You lived in experienced the European environment, right? What do you feel is the difference here between that and the rest of the world when it comes to startups and innovation and building businesses?
So one of the things I would say that Latvia is a small country. We're definitely way smaller market. We're opening up to new businesses, new ideas, and like there's a lot of tech companies that have come from Latvia too.
Yeah.
But so I would say the biggest thing is that the access to different amount of funding here is way bigger.
Yeah.
There's definitely.
So let's bring up Latvia.
Yeah.
It's Latvia, right?
Yeah,
LAT?
Latvia. LATVIA. Yeah.
VIA?
No, VIA.
VIA. Oh, sorry.
VIA. Yeah. There we go.
So, 2 million people.
Yeah. So our population is smaller than Toronto.
Jeez.
Yep.
Oh, right next to Estonia.
Right next to Estonia.
So Estonia has a lot of like blockchain work going on.
Estonia is the
blockchain capital right now, right?
It's the tech capital. Yeah.
Of Europe, is it?
Of the region, I would say definitely.
Of the Western European region.
Like Northeast Europe, definitely, and then.
Sorry, Eastern, yeah.
Yeah. So, no. So the thing is, there's not that many there's EU funding available for a lot of companies. There's definitely a lot of support or relief from government, whether it's through taxes or subsidies or whatever. But you can definitely see that here in Canada, there's a lot more private funding involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot more funds.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been in Latvia now for the past, like actively or for past 4 or 5 years now. So the environment might have changed then. I know it has changed too. So I'm not the most up-to-date person to talk about the situation right now.
No, absolutely.
But when I left, I can definitely see that it would be definitely more easy to start like a tech company or or whatever kind of a startup here.
So do you mean because of resources,
just
talent?
Resources, and Latvia has a lot of talented people. Yeah, we've been affected by also a lot of immigration. A lot of people have left Latvia to UK or Western Europe.
Outflow of talent.
A lot of young people. But that was one of my goals too, like to start a company here, like establish myself, and then go back to Latvia, where I can bring the knowledge that I've gained here in Canada and North America, and go back to Latvia and initiate some change, right?
Yeah. Give back and help build a region.
Exactly. And then so Latvia is still a technical place, and then so we had a company like a social media, essentially it was called Draugiem, which means friends. They launched in the early 2000s, I would say, even before Facebook, and it was the Latvia social media where everyone in Latvia, the younger part of Latvia definitely was on. And now the people who started that, they have a good on-demand, like a printing service for different like mugs, T-shirts, and everything in California. And they're successful there. And there's also one company, I think you definitely might have heard it, was called. It was a drone. It was action sports following drone that follows you.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that that came from Latvia, and so there's a lot of different cool tech companies that are coming out. But I would say that the funding aspect alone is definitely would be easier to.
And that's because of private capital and the flow of capital.
Exactly, because private capital with 2 million people, it's not that big, right? Here, it's the numbers that are flowing around here are just different, like way different, way bigger, and then I would say that's a big thing why alone it would be easier to start start up here and then get funding for it, right?
Absolutely, but I would imagine that there's a lot of European capital as well, like France, Portugal, in the Western regions at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there nothing flowing towards to the east, or very limited?
It is limited. Like we're still located. We're associated with eastern part of Europe, right? And so there's a lot of stigma with the word Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah.
But it's been definitely decreasing in the past years, which is good. But I wouldn't say that it's hard to start a startup in Latvia, but I would say it is easier.
So I'm interested in this. So like in Canada, I mean, the government, both like federally, provincially, and the cities,
Yeah.
have all collaborated or understood that the innovation economy is the future.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of investment, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of support.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Trudeau was at Collision. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Collision conferences here, stuff
Yeah.
like this happening. But how is the climate in Europe? Is the European Union, like the government, like
Oh yeah.
very
Definitely.
supportive of like development efforts?
Oh, definitely. Like, they're putting a lot of money in different researches, and so our technical university, I would say, is also very competitive. So they just opened up a new building, a new campus, and also research facilities there, and so like European Union is always pressing on these innovations, right? And so that's a big thing. Like, if you're innovating, then it will be easier for you to attain funding. But
That's for more like research, commercialization of research.
yeah, no, it's different inventions. Yeah. Inventions and everything. But
But not necessarily like products like yourselves. Like
products like myself, like I don't have enough knowledge to speak about it. But I would imagine it would be a bit harder to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting climate in Europe because each country is doing differently.
Yeah.
It's part of the union,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be doing more widespread work. But
Yeah.
it's funny, at Collision, I didn't realize how much capital was in Western Europe because we actually had a lot of, I talked to about 2 VC firms from France, one from Spain, right? I mean, Britain always had, United Kingdom always had capital, but the presence from France and Spain was super surprising.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't necessarily know those countries as innovators or where capital flows out of.
Yeah.
Right, so it's interesting to see how the global economy is converging together.
Yeah.
And it's cool that Toronto's the hub of that.
No, it's definitely I was about to say, well, that's why they're here, because they see the potential being here, and then so the innovation that's happening here.
Yeah.
And it's I would say there's definitely, because whenever you Google around like startups Toronto, there's going to be so many different smaller organizations or these hubs or whatever that are operating in around the city, right?
Yeah.
Or just alone how many we were talking about these co-working office spaces, right? There's so many of them in downtown Toronto here. So many of them.
But honestly, I did my honeymoon in Europe, and one of the things I noticed, we went to like about 4 different countries, there like multiple cities, about 9 different cities, and the amount of co-working spaces they have, like all across the board, it puts us to shame.
Yeah.
Right. We have some co-working spaces.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a lot of incubation hubs. I think incubation hubs and accelerators, we're seeing more of that popping up here, 100%.
Yeah.
But when it comes to co-working spaces, Europe really has double down on that.
Yeah.
Almost every corner has a co-working space. And one thing I like about the European ones is I think there's 4 main co-working companies across that have working stations all across Europe, but it's cross-collaborative. So if you own membership in one, you have access to 4 in almost every member city and country.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of coordination is pretty crucial. We're still lacking that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, because like I don't know that Toronto has one like that.
We have co-working stations, but they're independent.
They aren't like collaborating.
We'll have WeWork. WeWork is a global one, but we have I think one main WeWork downtown.
Yeah. Right.
But if you're part of WeWork, you work on any WeWork across the board. Yeah. But again, there's only one in Toronto. I think only one. And there's other smaller co-working stations, but none of them are collaborating together. Yeah. Not like the ones in Europe are doing. Yeah. And what's interesting is, Collision is the world's biggest technology conference, but it's run by a group that runs Web Summit, and they're based out of Portugal. Yeah. Right. And what's the other one? Techstars. Yeah. So the third or second largest accelerator in the world for tech companies. It's out of Portugal as well. Right. Yeah. So I'm interesting.
No, actually, I didn't know that. That's interesting for me too now.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot going on, but I think it's not as transparent as it's here. Yeah. Right.
No, it might be because, for example, now you're telling me that the Collision, the main organizers are from Portugal, essentially.
Portugal, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know if you went through the hub to get tickets for Collision. Yeah. But if you did, you sign up and they call you, and the guy's from Portugal.
Oh, really?
Right, and he lines up the time slots according to Portugal time, right? Yeah. And it's been like that for a while. I went to even the Collision in Las Vegas in 2015.
Okay.
Same thing. I was super surprised.
Yeah.
Right. That I was talking to someone in Portugal. I'm like,
That's interesting.
and I'm asking him, like, what's going on in Portugal?
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's based out of there. What's going on there? I think it's mostly the climate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think it's a benefit to that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that might be true. But the thing is about here is like North America, Canada, and so Canada is a gateway to the States, right? And so if you can prove yourself here, and you can always move down south to the States, which is even a bigger market, right?
Yep.
And I think that's also an appeal right now to Toronto as a tech space, right? If you
Yeah,
can
I mean,
prove
I've been
yourself.
studying this trend a lot. Like, why Toronto? What's going on, right?
Yeah.
So one of the main factors. So this is cool. Some cool facts I found out. So Canada
Yeah.
has on a per capita basis 26% more innovators or entrepreneurs than the
Yeah.
United States. Even though the United States is 10 times the population,
Yeah.
with I think 1,000 times the market, right?
Yeah.
Potential. But a lot of the capital, I mean, like everything from like, what was it? Was it Advil or Tylenol was invented here? Like
Yeah.
so many things are invented here.
Yeah.
Right. That gets they're shipped out to the United States because the market's there, the capital is there,
Yeah.
right, and the labor market is there, right?
Yeah.
But one of the main reasons, right, is the ability to take risk.
Yeah.
Right. And that is because of our healthcare system, right?
That's true.
So someone in Canada versus an entrepreneur who's like 27, 28
Yeah.
in Canada versus an entrepreneur the same age group in the US
Yeah.
doesn't have to worry about, hey, if I have a family, if I have kids on the way, that if I leave my job, I no longer have health insurance.
Exactly. That's very
And
true.
that one fact and the accumulation of like decades of having that has made us, even though we're a smaller market, 26% per capita more entrepreneurs come out of Canada. Problem is they've all been leaving for the past like 50 years, right? They build something of value and leave the States to commercialize it.
Yeah.
But now it's changed, especially with the Donald Trump era and the trade wars and what's going on. The United States is becoming a more closed loop.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of these companies are coming here to take advantage of the dollar value. Right.
Yeah.
It's 70 cents on the dollar for the capital.
Yeah, it's definitely cheaper here.
It's cheaper here. You're taking 30% right there.
Yeah.
Right. Just on the conversion rate of the U.S. dollar to Canadian, and also a lot of companies are coming out of Silicon Valley. Right.
Yeah.
Because everyone that you talk to in the Valley talks about the what do you call that? The thinking process is all like the same.
Yeah.
Right. In the Valley, because from the beginning of like Microsoft and the Valley, when the Valley started with Silicon with the Silicon products, whenever someone made capital, right, they go off and start venture capital firms that invest in their buddies' funds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who then invested to companies that came out of their employees that come out of their companies, right?
Yeah.
And the innovation economy has grown from like a buddy system.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I know you,
Yeah.
right? We work together.
Yeah.
I know how you think, how you operate,
Yeah.
so we invest. And Silicon Valley is kind of blossomed into this, like into a place where there's not a lot of diversity and very like-mindedness.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because of the cap situation, they're all leaving. I think 1/3 goes to Nashville, and 1/3 of companies who are leaving out of Silicon Valley. The talent goes to Nashville in Texas,
Yeah.
and 1/3 come here to Toronto.
No, but it's also very convenient because right now Canada has signed, for example, if you're manufacturing something something innovative, Canada has signed a trade agreement with the European Union, so it's way easier for export.
Yeah, that was just recent, right? A few weeks ago?
No, that's
A few months ago?
A year, I think. Like
Yeah.
1 year right now.
1 year?
1 year, yeah.
It's a free trade agreement.
Yeah, it's there's like it's definitely more relaxed. Like the import taxes are relaxed and everything.
It's funny. I just heard about that like last week.
Okay.
I was talking to somebody from government relations, and like, yeah, we have almost a free trade agreement with Europe.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. And so I would say that's also a big thing right now, because if you want to trade with Europe, it's definitely cheaper to do it if you're established here.
Yeah. So have you heard of this? It's called the Tech Corridor. All right. So they've been trying to build it they've been talking about it since 2013.
Yeah.
So there's been a coordinated effort from government and private entities. They're trying to build.
Is that the one on the Wake Shore? Not the Wake Shore, but the port around the port
No.
area?
So that is Queens Quay.
Oh, Queens
That's
Quay.
the Sidewalk Labs project.
Okay.
By Google, but so the tech corridor is kind of like the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is just literally a valley of cities and tech companies located between the cities and towns, right? So just like that, from Kitchener, from Waterloo to Toronto, they're trying to create a tech corridor.
Okay.
So the government has invested systematically from Kitchener, Guelph, right, to the Halton regions,
Yeah.
to Toronto, to incentivize these companies who are moving in to come here.
Okay.
So that's why you hear Toronto is like the AI capital of the world.
Yeah.
But almost all these companies are rated right here, right, in the
Yeah.
Halton region. So Halton has something called Silicon Halton,
Yeah.
right, which is a coordinated group between the Halton regions,
Yeah.
the cities here, to produce AI talent and bring tech talent out. But what's interesting is this whole region is developing into a tech hub, right? So it's not just Toronto. Toronto has
Yeah.
a capital,
Yeah.
right? Kitchener, Waterloo had always had the BlackBerry,
Right. Yeah.
the talent pool, and they're trying to coordinate that between. Now, what's also interesting is this is actually expanding, because Detroit and Chicago is a similar tech hub.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a coordinated effort between Chicago and Detroit,
Yeah.
and there's a larger potential for this region right here,
Yeah.
right, to become more coordinated as like a northeastern hub for everything tech.
Yeah.
Right, tech, capital, and finance.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and the innovation economy. So I'm really interested in seeing how that develops.
No, that's very interesting. That's very interesting that you mentioned that, because I can see, for example, one of my friends, he's a PhD student at U of T, and like the things that he's working in different battery technologies for cars. It's just it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that the school like is supporting, right, and the research that they're doing with the school, right, and so you can definitely see that. And some of the companies that they're like either supporting or whatever, they're locally based, right?
Yep.
And then U of T also has right now the autonomous driving car that they just, I think, won a competition not that long ago again between, I think it was 8 other North American universities.
Yeah. Which team ran that? Do you know?
I won't remember right now. If you
It
Google,
was a fully autonomous vehicle, or?
so yeah, essentially they're developing their own fully autonomous vehicle. Like GM is supporting that. They give them Chevy Cruze, I think.
Okay.
All these eight universities, and essentially build an autonomous vehicle as best as you can. And I think U of T won in all the challenges except one. And
Who's running the challenge? Because I've heard
I
of.
think it's the Society of Automotive Engineers, because they're a big one. Because they run they run UTAT, rocketry.
Okay.
Where university has the team UTAT. Essentially, they build a rocket,
Oh.
and they have competition in the states, and so it's also very interesting.
So are you tied into all these competitions? Are you interested in that too, or you hear about them?
I know about them. So the thing is about all those engineering clubs, they're under one group. So you talk with each other. We know about each other, and
Yep.
so yeah. There is also the solar car.
So I would imagine, this is one of my first questions I asked you, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do you go into photography when you have such a background and passion for cars, and there's so much going on in the autonomous space, and you already have the access to these talent pools?
So it's interesting. Yeah.
Or is something that you want to partake in the future?
No, like cars and racing and engineering has always been like an interest for me, right? So maybe I would have done a different decision if I would have gone for engineering in university, because then I would have more of a technical background to achieve something like that.
Yep.
Or like doing that sphere.
Sorry, what is your background? What are you studying right now?
You're economics, political science, and anthropology.
Nice.
Yeah. So, sometimes I think about that, but then again, I think that from the other side, that maybe it's better that I'm studying this while I have all that background and
Absolutely.
and knowledge in engineering, right?
Yeah.
And no one says that. For example, I never know what's going to happen with this photo community project, right? It might fail, it might succeed, but.
Yeah, that was my. Me and Gray actually talked about our confusion about this, because we heard about you helped build a car and you raced it and you faced it off against 26 of the universities, and I'm like, yo, that's such a cool space. Why is he leaving that for photography? Until I heard about your platform.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's a monetizable platform. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a great system. But the space is just so the engineering side of cars, autonomous vehicles. There's so much going on there. I'm pretty sure you can find a fit there.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
If I wanted to, yeah, I would say I could try and find something, but as I see it right now, it's very hard to predict right now what's going to happen with, for example, the automotive sector, because everyone's investing in the battery technology. I think Germany is banning from 2025 or 22 all sales of new combustion cars.
Yeah.
Or
Is that just Germany?
I think it was just Germany. I like, don't take my word for it.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was Europe as a whole was considering that.
I don't think so. Yeah, but like it's definitely moving in a very interesting pace and everything. But then again, you never know. Like right now, still the limiting factor is the battery technology.
I mean, the main thing is lithium, right?
Yeah.
How it's lithium-based batteries and lithium is so rare and resourced.
Not even that. It was just limiting to how much power it can hold, right?
Yep.
And so all that, but I don't. I'm not certain about myself that I know enough, like to jump in that sphere. Yes, I do know. Like most of my friends from university right now are engineers, and so from also from the racing team, right?
Yeah.
So all of them
Well, I mean, Mitt, who just came on before you,
Yeah.
right? He's a CFO. He's an accountant,
Yeah.
and now he works for a self-driving startup, right? So he leverages his accounting abilities
Yeah.
into the self-driving vehicle, but into the startup. But because of the startup, he wears multiple hats. Now he's running sales, running HR, running all the different things, and he can explain the product better than the lead engineers, right? Most of the time, because he's a non-technical person.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's still that mirroring of skills that's required,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
no.
technical people are not the best communicators, 100%.
Yeah. No, it definitely depends from case. But no, I understand what you're saying. And I understand. Like I remember when I was talking to Gray and he saw the picture and was like, wait, explain this. And then I told him about that technical and racing background in U of T racing team. He's like, why the hell are you doing this photo project? And I said, well, why not?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I heard your story, I've been talking about you to almost every single person I met, because I'm like, yo, there's this guy here, there's this guy who's like racing cars and building cars in university, and I never knew it was a thing.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone's shocked, and like, I talk more about that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, he's working at a startup, right? And like almost every person, I'm like, yo, like if they ask about the hub, one of the first person to talk about is you, because it's such an interesting story.
No.
Like everyone just like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this guy drives and he built a car,
Yeah.
but now as a photography company, it's like, wait, what's that loop?
Yeah.
Right? How did I end up there?
No, so maybe you can lump it together. I think that's how I also started my presentation for the pitch competition. Was I come from racing background and or racing, and in racing you need to look for these right angles, right opportunities. And photography in a way is the same thing, right?
Nice.
You just need
Good way of positioning it.
Exactly, and I do like taking pictures, and the thing is I do like going to races and taking pictures of the races too, and so it's still it kind in my mind it ties together. I understand why it doesn't really tie together, but for me it was this idea right now. I see a potential in it. I see potential in it monetizing. I see potential in it like growing in something bigger, and that's why I'm working on it. And if I would have a different idea about like an automotive or engineering or whatever, I would definitely do that. And maybe I would be better off in a way that I would know more people in that sphere, or they could help me better in like with different suggestions. But then again, like I ended up here, and I'm not saying I regret it, or I'm not saying I'm doing worse in it, and so it's definitely interesting. I definitely understand the confusion that people have, but as I said, like I'm not saying this is the last thing I'm gonna do, right?
Yeah. So yeah, let's wrap up on that. What is next? Like, what do you have any other visions? Do you have any other ambitions that you want to do next? Like,
so my long-term.
You're gonna be graduating soon, right? So,
yeah. My long-term ambition is to, at the end of the day, I can some years go back home and do something there in Latvia.
help build up the region, like you said.
No, yeah, like build up, do something in a bigger scale or whatever that would be, and like can't tell you what it is right now.
Okay.
But my goal is ultimately to go back and then like give back my knowledge in whatever way I can.
Yeah.
But right now the next thing is just like SnapIn. That's my next thing, and then so right now my future plans are kind of tied to that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then still looking for some driving opportunities. Yeah, I'm always looking for that. And
Awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely keep in touch about all of that.
Yeah.
Any way we can help out, we're always here.
Yeah,
right?
Thank you.
But
Thank you for having me here.
of course, man.
Yeah.
Right, thank you for coming on. Right.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.